Hello, my name is Catherine Poole, also known as the Queen of Color, and this is the video prelude to my kick that can be found at catherinepoole.com. This week is Can You Hear Me Now? Otherwise called Whoa Mule. And the reason that I chose that is because what I'm talking about this week is the term that I use very often, and it's called cascade or cascading. And I often use that when I talk about clients with certain tissue issues, because it's usually not what ultimately brings you to see me that is the basis or the root of your issues. Usually it started out as a feather. It started out as a very subtle message. And, I use the term whoa mule because I think of the Yosemite Sam cartoon where he's riding on the mule and he pulls back on the reins and says, whoa, and then, whoa, and then next thing you know, he's pulling out a 2x4 and just bam, smacks that mule in the head and says, when I says whoa, I means whoa. Well, your body does the same thing. Your body will try to give you a message to help you course correct. And then if you don't listen, what happens is it gets hurtier and hurtier. You get different tissue issues that may all be related when I make that connection for you, but otherwise you might think that they have nothing in common. So the wonderful example I use this week is a young woman that came to see me years ago, and she was 19 at the time, but the issues had started back a lot earlier than that, and her father brought her to see me because they just couldn't figure things out. And what I do this week in the kick is give you this insight as to how things cascaded into what eventually became lupus. And she was learning from lupus, but then when you start looking back at her other tissue issues, it traced back to endometriosis. And then it traces back even further. And once you see what she was dealing with, literally at birth, that wasn't really looked at, which, who does? You don't listen to those feathers because you don't recognize them until later on. So check out this week at catherinepoole.com, and you'll also learn a bit about lupus and what it means metaphysically, and why it's often confused with rheumatoid arthritis, even though they're very similar. But there are some metaphysical differences. Also in endometriosis, you can find out what the metaphysical aspects of that lesson is. And I also talk about, believe it or not, pigeon toes, or the toes that turn in, because that's really what was the first clue as to what this young woman needed help with. And really it is all about moving forward. So I hope you move forward and click on that forward button and share my videos and my information with all your friends. I appreciate it, and take care and have a wonderful, wonderful week. Goodbye.